Commissioner Rob Manfred has had many priorities, but I don't think there is one that is more important than ensuring that there are baseball fans among the millennial generation, Generation Z, and further generations to come. They've done a lot of things to accommodate and try and, attract new fans, and I think realistically, there's one crazy idea that he hasn't tried yet. Baseball video I did on this channel, I talked about how baseball is no longer just an American man's game. It is a game that is played all around the world. There are currently 35 million people who play baseball in 122 different countries. And I think realistically, one of the ways that we've seen this is that the growth of international baseball has been going on throughout Japan, throughout Taiwan, even starting to come up around Europe, Canada, Mexico, Latin America, Caribbean. Well, let me finish because, there's a lot of them. To probably one of my craziest ideas to help grow Major League Baseball: expand the Little League World Series. Start off with something small, because youth involvement is something that is very crucial within the United States, and the more youth engaged, the more teams you can get into this Little League World Series, the likelihood you get more following in baseball, and it will just work its way up even as things go. So right now, for those of you who don't know, Little League World Series has 16 teams, 8 American, 8 international, but if we could expand it to, say, 24 teams, probably wouldn't even be a problem. So I guess we're going to start looking at potentially the different teams and why this might be a beneficial thing. The American kind of setup and format, basically the country's divided into 8. Basically for a Little League team to get there, you got to pass your district, your state, and then your regional. If you win regionals, you get a spot in Williamsport. So looking at the different regions, the 8 regions, a few things actually kind of stick out for me. Why Kentucky's in the Great Lakes, why is West Virginia in the Southeast, why is Colorado in the Southwest, and a few others here and there. So I think realistically, if you can tweak and make 4 new teams out of that, completely fine. California has about 10% of the population, so I think it's fair to say that they get a team if they had 12. You could probably make Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, and North Carolina. You could probably put them all together with Virginia and maybe call it Appalachian. Arizona's pretty good. They've got the most baseball diamonds per capita, so I'm sure that they have enough baseball players. Potentially you could split up the Midwestern region, or you can maybe even look at potentially looking at the Great Lakes. You can make a central region with Missouri, Nebraska, Kansas, Colorado, and a few others. You can maybe put Colorado in the West. There's a few you could probably make that you can kind of shift and tweak and wouldn't be a problem whatsoever. International realm, there are 4 countries that are always guaranteed a spot in the Little League World Series. You have Canada, Australia, Japan, and Mexico. That is simple as that. I think it's very fair, and I don't see any of them dividing into 2 at this point in time. It's not a combination of countries, mind you, but I think realistically all 4 are good. You've got Latin America, Caribbean, you have the Asian Pacific and Middle East, and then you have Europe and Africa to take up the final 4 spots. That is where I think we can start dividing up and seeing what works and what doesn't. Asian Pacific, Middle East, you have a team like the United Arab Emirates in there. You've got the Chinese Taipei, you've got South Korea, you've got Israel apparently, and there's a few other countries in there. I think realistically, just looking at it, I think you can kind of give the Chinese Taipei or Taiwan, for those of you who, mind, you can give them a spot, because I think it's 81% of the time they've been in the Little League World Series, they have won the championship. I think that's dominance, and I think that is absolutely fair to give Chinese Taipei or Taiwan a spot in the Little League World Series. If you're going to give an extra 3, let's see here, the Caribbean, you always have Puerto Rico, Cuba, Dominican Republic. Those 3 are arguably the top 5 baseball nations in the world, so the fact that they only get 1 spot, little sad and a little disheartening. I think realistically you can open that up to 2 spots. You could call it Caribbean or West Indies or something along those lines. Looking at Latin America, you kind of have Ecuador, you have Venezuela, you've got Colombia, and I think realistically those 3 countries are fairly dominant within baseball too. I'd say all 3 are within probably the top 10 or top 15. And I think realistically if you were to give 2 spots there, it'd be completely fine. You can either call it Central America or South America or something along those lines where, you could showcase both these 2 international talents. Now there was a proposal to have 2 Japanese teams, and I'm not too sure on that one. I'm not the best with that one, so I'm not really too sure. Finally, you have the last region, Europe and Africa, in which there's only one spot, but there are so many great countries there that are battling it out each and every single year at the Little League level. Two countries that come to mind, you got Great Britain, and then you have the Netherlands. And I think realistically, both of these are growing. Netherlands is turning into likely a top 5 power when it comes to baseball. Great Britain, it's slowly getting there. You know, they're on the fence with the World Baseball Classic every so often. So I think realistically, the fact that you have these two, I'd say top 20 countries for baseball in the world, and only one of them gets to compete every year is a little disheartening. So potentially looking at maybe either like a Netherlands spot or a guaranteed British spot, or even like Western Europe, Eastern Europe, and Africa, or something along those lines, could definitely go a long way to Williamsport. More teams, more games, more passion, and you're able to start from the ground up, which is Little League, and move its way to get the interest to go from the college to the minors and even the majors, and it gives these kids the opportunity to truly shine, because that is the great part about Little League. It doesn't matter if you're a monster or you're just frail. It's as simple the fact that you get the chance to showcase what you have on a national stage, and I think that is truly something amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Special considerations to Aaron Jaros and Colin Giuliani. I used a lot of their work to help make this video, and if you want to see what I see, just look down below and just kind of go with it. Also, that subscribe button wouldn't be too much of a problem, would it? So anyways, that's it for me. Have a great day, everybody.